We started now. Welcome to another episode of The Big
And Short of It All. Hello, guys. Hello.
What's up? What's up? Been a minute.
Yeah.
Been a while.
How you doing?
I'm alright.
Yeah.
A little hot.
I was wondering, is the air off?
Yes.
Okay.
It gets cold in here, James. So we live in Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the air on, then I get super cold. Then I turn the air off, and then it get hot, and then the weather changes. It gets from cold to hot.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. Because right now my unit, I like to say it doesn't work because it still comes on, but it don't do anything for real. So it just be running. I can't even turn it off. Like I switched to the off button, it just won't go off.
Well, so the thing about you is that you always have it on instead of auto, and with it run, this is what I learned back in college. Because we usually just have it on as well, so it was just on all the time, and eventually it's going to go out. So whenever they fix it, you should definitely put it on auto.
I usually have it on auto though.
Okay. Every time I come, it was on.
Well, because usually what happens is, because I usually put it on auto, but what'll happen is like, I'll come in and it'll be like extra warm outside or something, and I need it to get that little boost. Mm-hmm. Or like usually after we get through recording, I cut it back on. Like I switch it to on because I need to. Because we've been sitting here about the 8th episode. Yep. It's like and like, I switch it to on and forget. But for the most, I would say probably 75% of the time, I usually have it on auto.
Okay.
But every now and then I switch it to on and forget. But like I said, it's the heat part works. It's the I don't.
This is.
I'm just talking. I forgot for a second we was recording, but I was like, because I was going to go down this rabbit hole of explaining, but they don't need to do all that.
We do stay in a place that it's like, weather is one day, one way one day, and then the next day it's raining today, 70 degrees. Tomorrow it'll be 35, and next day it'll be 90.
Was it like that in Chicago?
No, not that I remember.
So let's say you woke up that morning, it was cold. It was just cold all day. Yeah. Or if it's hot, it's just hot all day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like as the seasons change, it will progress to cold to hot. But for the most part, just stay the temperature is supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because here in Alabama, it could be cold in the morning and then 90 degrees by 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I hate it.
And then 60 degrees at night.
I hate it.
That's how people get sick.
We still here though.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
You think about moving?
No, it's not necessarily that. It's just, we'll talk about it out there.
Okay. All right.
It's not a bad thing. It's just
yeah,
adult stuff.
No, I hear you.
Just being like, it's okay. You don't need to. And what's on your mind, James? I know you got a lot to talk about because I feel it. Because I know there's a lot of movie and TV stuff that we haven't talked about on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I know a little bit about how you feel about some stuff through group chats. Mm-hmm. But in general, like, what's on your chest, James? What's the first thing you want to discuss?
Kanye West.
Okay. I teed you up for movies and TV, and you go to Kanye West.
I mean, it's real quick because we talk about movies, so that's I'm not gonna forget that.
I don't mind talking about it. It's just I thought you was gonna follow. I threw the ball off the backboard,
and I
you was like
smacked it out of bounds.
Kanye West
Smacked it out of bounds.
Blocked by James, as they say. What's going on? What's going on with Kanye?
Have you heard his 2 new songs?
I've heard his whole album, the Bully album.
Oh, it's out?
Yeah, on YouTube. It's not on any streaming though, but I've listened to the whole album on YouTube.
So then you probably heard the song about him and his cousin.
Because okay, let me explain.
Okay.
So there's the Bully album, which is the one I listened to, but then there's other songs that I've heard online that aren't on the Bully album.
Yeah, that's what I figured these 2 were. So it was the one that was like Hitler and I Am a Nick.
Yeah, I heard that one, but that was not on the Bully album.
And then this other one, it sounds like an emo song, from back in the 2000s or something. But he's like, yeah, I sucked my cousin dick for 8 years.
Well, okay,
okay. Maybe I should prepare you for it.
It's okay. So, because I didn't listen to the song. Was it like a metaphor?
No.
So like it was like a literal like this is what I did for it. Cause the reason why I asked cause like there's it's not a one for one thing, but there's a common like adage of like like following somebody's shadow or like
glazing.
Yeah, not necessarily glazing, but just like I wanted to be like this person, so I was attached to the hip. Everything they did, I did. So like I ain't know if maybe it was like a metaphor for 8 years. My cousin was who I looked up to. So like for 8 years, or was it? He was literally.
I definitely would hope somebody wouldn't put it in those words. So his words are, hanging with my cousin, reading dirty magazines. We seen two niggas kissing, we ain't know what that should mean. Then we start reenacting everything that we had seen. That's when I gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head. Gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head.
I got nothing, Jabs.
Verse 2.
No. We don't need to go to verse 2. We don't need to go to verse 2. I think verse 1 or the chorus or whatever that is, that's enough. Mm-hmm. I think that's enough.
I hear you.
But you know what? At the same time, at this point, I'm not really shocked by anything Kanye does.
I agree. I was more just shocked that he decided to admit it, like on a song in public. It's with him, his mental state being whatever it is. I guess I'm not shocked that he would put it out in public, but just I wouldn't expect it to be this way.
Well, the crazy thing about it is I don't even know. I mean, because the way things are now, I don't even know if it's completely true.
Yep.
It could just be, like I said, maybe I'm trying to give it a benefit of the doubt.
I hear you. No,
it could be a metaphor, or it could just be him being Kanye, just saying some stuff, and then people flocking to it, and then now his name is back out, which I can say the name really left
right
social media, but
publicity,
especially after he did the whole interview with academics in a black KKK robe thing. So I'm saying it's Kanye is just hey man, the crazy thing about his crazy thing, James, it's maybe you could tell me, or maybe somebody could tell me, or I could go back and look for myself. I just feel like there was a certain point in time where he just went from Kanye to Kanyezus, and then it's just I don't know where that was. I don't know where it was. It was just a drastic shift. He went from being like, yeah man, I like life and rap and cool, and then it's just it's a whole bunch. I don't know, man.
I think you hit it right on the head. I think it was Jesus, because so me personally, I didn't really care for any of his stuff after 808s and Heartbreaks, but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, you can argue that it is still kind of like his first 4 albums.
Yeah.
And then after that is Jesus, and then he talking about black skinheads, and
which is actually a pretty good song. I'm not gonna lie. I like it, but the thing about it is I'm more so I'm not even necessarily just talking about album wise. I'm talking about just everything around him as a person.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's just everything shifted. Now, obviously, if like I said, to your point, it changed. His music changed because of it. But I want to know, as a person, where was the shift in him to where it went from him making the happy, whatever backpack rap to his, like I said, and this may be whatever, I don't know. A lot of people, could say it started because his mom passed away, but it's obviously I feel whatever shift he took, it started showing up in his music, which showed up in his. But I'm talking about as him as a person, where was that line where because it's two different Kanyes. It's this Kanye, and then that's why I say Kanye's, but just to say it's two different people. I want to know where the divide is. Where did that happen?
So when you started saying all this stuff, it made me think probably when he started getting with Kim. I don't...
Possibly, I don't know.
So internet says they started dating in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out in 2010. Jesus was 2013. So that would kind of line up with when I feel like things kind of change. Even though, my beautiful dark okay, so, me being conspiracy theory, Illuminati, my beautiful dark twisted fantasy is just like an Illuminati thing, because he has a Nephilim, the angel, mating with the man. So I didn't necessarily think that it was I don't want to say psychosis, like I know what that means, but I didn't think that had anything to do with his mental state. I was just felt like it was a product of what he's been going through in the music industry.
Yeah.
And then Jesus is, him being poisoned with the Kardashian stuff.
And yeah, I'll let them decide if they agree with that or not. Because, again, I don't disagree, but I can't agree because I don't have all the evidence.
Yeah.
And this is the last thing I'll say, we can move on. It's just, you went from backpack rap to Jesus to gospel Kanye to now you giving your cousin head. Which I actually liked his gospel album. It was short. It was like 30 minutes. Because each song was like a minute and a half to like maybe, I think the longest was like maybe 2 minutes, if that. I actually liked it. But then you got a whole Sunday choir. And now it's like, man, we was watching porn and I gave my cousin head.
So, I mean, that is a part, I don't want to say of the culture, but testimony. I know this isn't, I guess in a way it is a testimony, but, Kirk Franklin.
It doesn't sound like a testimony. Testimonies usually mean this is what I overcame.
Yeah, I know.
This is him just saying what I did. I just did this. This is what that happened.
I wanted to say, whenever you are in, gospel music, you do kind of.
Nah.
I tried.
No, James. No, this is not a testimony. Because, no, man. I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe it's because he's not friends with Drake. But anyways, what else you want to talk about, James? Because they had their whole beef. That's a whole different conversation.
Kanye, I'm sure he.
Because because the whole thing with the song with Kanye Andre 3000 and everything.
I have clips on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one is I want to kind of disprove that Superman can beat Goku. But I'd have to go through quite a bit of Dragon Ball Z footage to get there.
And I say do it. I have no dog in that fight, but I say do it. I personally don't care. Well, but then again, that's just coming from a person who I just don't get bogged down in the whole okay, I can understand maybe I'm not saying I don't understand it, but I'm cool with the argument about LeBron versus MJ. Because I have some kind of I feel like because it's real life, so we have numbers and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But when we start comparing animated people from different worlds, it's it's. I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I check out. I'd be like, they all strong. Yep. And they all got powers. I said it'd be a good fight, but I don't know.
All right, so you're going to see Sinners this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
What have you heard anything about it besides it being good?
I've heard. I mean, I've seen to a point I made in the group chat. I've tried my best to stay away from because it's meme after meme after meme about the movie. This is a spoiler without spoil. They'll do stuff like that where it's this is a meme. If you see the movie, you'll get it. But if you don't, so I've seen stuff like that. But everybody talking about the vampires. Everybody talking about Ryan Coogler should make Blade. I've seen people talk about from now on. I'll start asking people or telling people they can't come in because you got to be invited in and stuff like that. Which I already knew it had to do with vampires, obviously, but to what extent I don't know. I've also heard that the vampires is not. It's not a big portion of the movie, or the movie isn't. The movie is about vampires, but it's not about vampires. Mm-hmm. If that makes, obviously it makes it because you've seen it. Yeah. But that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So.
Whoever said that they're not going to invite people, must not have heard or seen any vampire movies before, because even though there's different sects or subsects of vampirism, mm-hmm. That's one of those real old traditional vampire, rules.
Yeah. I think they were just saying it just to be memeing the movie for the most part.
And not only that, even I would assume that there are some people who maybe aren't into scary movies, and then they see Michael B. Jordan or it's a black movie, and they're like, you know what, I'll give this one a chance. So maybe they don't really know, but yeah.
Would you classify this as a scary movie?
I see a lot of people who don't. I think it is a throwback to those old vampire movies, so I can see it being a scary movie. I don't know what other movie I wouldn't call it action.
Would you call it a thriller? Or suspense?
Okay, whenever I say scary, it's like scary is the you have the big genres. You have comedy, action, drama, horror.
Mm-hmm.
And horror has its, so thriller, all these different other things. Like thriller.
You put thriller in the subgenre of horror?
Yeah.
I put thriller in the subgenre of subgen. I put thriller under the umbrella of drama.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because thriller doesn't always mean it has scary elements. It could just be an intense like cat and mouse game where like you're on the edge of your seats. So like it's a thrill ride, but it's not all like, to me, I don't put it under the horror umbrella because usually horror, or the ones that come out of that umbrella, even if it's not a horror, there's some kind of like scary element to it. Okay, so this one has vampires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vampires is usually kind of like in the horror, so I give you that. But it's like, if the movie doesn't revolve around, like say if it's just like, oh, we're vampires, like Twilight, I wouldn't put that under the horror. No. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it has vampires in it.
Sure.
So, but it's not necessarily like directly under that.
Okay, so the reason I put thrillers under, horror, which to me horror is very descriptive. I mean, scary is too. So I mean, either one you want to put.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think of thriller, even though I'm thinking of other movies, but slasher. So mm-hmm. Jason, Freddy, Freddy could be horror, but Jason is just like going around stabbing, slicing people. And when you think of horror, it's like, body horror. Just supernatural elements like this werewolf.
Is Freddy Krueger not a super?
Which is why I said I would make it.
Is Jason is a supernatural?
I mean, yeah, he don't really die, but he is just a guy. But what I'm trying to say is this person just goes around slashing people. So that's what I would think of a thriller. If you just have serial killers tend to be in a drama. And so me, I think drama is any movie that doesn't fall into the other categories. So you have
so a drama and suspense the same for you?
Suspense, that's the word. Okay. No, definitely not. So, like The Irishman, you can't really classify that as anything, so it's drama.
That's a 3-hour one on Netflix, mm-hmm. right?
With Robert De Niro.
Robert who?
De Niro, I said.
I had to make sure. Because I had to make sure I heard. I was like, what?
I get him and Al Pacino as their names.
Because they work so, they kind of like, I like to say the same person, but I get what you're saying.
So when I said Robert, I was like, am I saying it the right person? So I was skipping on the duh, and I was like, yeah, you're right, Nero.
It's all good, James. I don't know. Again, these are just our own personal things. Because like I feel like for me, suspense and thriller fall under drama. I would put slasher under horror.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I'm gonna see. I'm listening. I'm gonna see.
No, you cool. I'm just thinking because I'm trying to think of like, because I'm thinking about what you said because like I've never looked at it as like, you have these major ones and then you have the sub whatever. So I'm just because I've always just put them as like they're all been different, like suspense, thriller, drama, whatever. But I've never. Now that I'm thinking about it, if I had to classify like which ones go under the major ones, then I would put suspense and thriller under drama. And like I said, I just say that because I feel like you can have those without having a scary element to it. So like it could, like for instance, like the movie I don't know if you ever seen it, movie Fracture with Anthony Hopkins. Mm-mm. It's basically the whole premise of the movie is you got Anthony Hopkins, he kills his wife. You have Ryan Gosling who plays it, who's attorney trying to put him in jail. So basically, Anthony Hopkins tells the guy, like, I did it, but you got to prove it. Mm-hmm. And so the whole movie is him trying to prove that he did it, like, because you got to find a way. Like, he knows he killed his wife, but he can't prove it because he has no evidence. He doesn't have the weapon. So it's like a whole movie, like them trying to one up each other, or Anthony Hopkins trying to basically, because he ends up defending himself, and saying Ryan Gosling is like, I gotta put him in jail, but it's like, I need to find the evidence. And but it's like, what you gonna do?
It's not a movie that will like be strictly in a courtroom. Maybe he's going around and there are parts that like kind of elevate your heart rate.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I could see that. The internet says a thriller is often a hybrid of action, crime, horror, and or science fiction.
So it sounds like action is what all those fall under. That's how I interpret it. Maybe I'm hearing it wrong.
No, they're just saying that it usually, you would combine action and crime and horror,
Yeah, see, I didn't go that far because I thought about that earlier when I was trying to put them when I was dividing them up. Mm-hmm. I had that thought of like they all could kind of mix and mingle, but I didn't want to go there because that's a whole nother. Because you got comedy, action, horror, suspense. Like that's why I've never really looked at it as like big ones because they just all be doing their thing.
So looking up Suspense, that sounds more like your Fraction movie. It says Suspense focuses on creating a sense of anticipation and tension, often with the audience knowing more than the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Like I would, to my earlier point, I was saying I put thriller and suspense to me is separate, but I put them both under drama.
I see. Yeah, I even though thriller can have horror elements, I see that it's not exclusively horror, which I kind of agree with because you don't necessarily have to have a killer or something like that. Like to me, what do they call them? Spy movies, can be thrillers.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you about the Megan 2.0 because you were saying like I think you said something about horror, and I was like, well, I wouldn't put that in horror. But then again, when you mentioned, I guess they were trying to make it like, I guess kid friendly horror. I don't know.
That's the way I took it, but
I also didn't see the movie, so
yeah.
I don't know.
What movies have you seen lately?
Nothing new, man. I've seen more shows lately, but even then, yeah, man.
I've seen you reviewing your shows. So I did watch a Minecraft movie and Sinners and
Minecraft is making money.
It's like Barbie, it knows its audience.
Barbie was a good movie though.
We definitely disagree on that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I haven't seen Minecraft, but based on, if I'm just basing it on watching the trailers, like when I saw the Barbie trailer, I was like, I'm in. When I saw Minecraft, okay.
So the big thing that I forgot, once I went in there, was the person that made Napoleon Dynamite make this. And for like the first, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, is very Napoleon Dynamite-esque. And it didn't really have my attention, and by the time that like it started being Minecraft, it just seemed very juvenile, and I just wasn't really feeling it. But I have played Minecraft, and I was more interested once they got to the overworld, whatever you want to call it. I don't. So I was like, okay, I am getting more interested, but just overall, it was just okay.
I just know it's making money.
Yeah.
That's all I know. I can see what you're saying as far as it knowing an audience, because like even though I wasn't an audience for Barbie, I enjoyed it. Do I feel like there was a sudden shift in the movie? Yes. But did I still enjoy the movie? I had a great time.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched any new movies though.
Okay.
I watched. We ain't gonna talk about shows.
Go for it.
No, because there's a show that I just watched called, I think it's Dark Matter. You ever heard of it?
I've seen like the title cards and stuff for it.
That's a good show, man.
Listen,
I say this because I know you're not gonna watch it, but I'm just telling you it's a good show.
I'm not saying I don't believe you, and it probably is, but you hear everybody say like, oh, this show is good, and this show is good, and while I don't want to say so they're good. I don't want to say they're good for this person, but it's like all these shows are good. I have to invest so much time into all these shows that people have tried to give. I just don't have the time, even though I do have the time. Mm-hmm. But it's like
you're not a show person though. Like we discussed on here, you're not a person who consumes your content in show form regularly. You prefer like my mom is the same way. Like she prefers movies over TV shows because TV shows you have to invest a lot of time into it. Like we talked about before, usually most TV shows they don't always hit the ground running like an episode 1 or 2. So sometimes they got to build the world, and so you got to get invested, and then by the time you get to like episode 3 or 4, you're in. But for you, because you're so used to consuming all your movie or your content in movie form, if they don't hook you in the first episode or 2, maybe 30 minutes of the episode, it's hard for you to stay invested to the point where you get hooked. Unless it's like a Severance, which I feel like Severance great. Well, I know you said it took you a while.
Yeah, I had to force myself to keep watching that. Same thing with Breaking Bad. Yeah. But I'm glad I did with Severance, Breaking Bad, whatever. What was I about to say? Oh, yeah, so just to emphasize what you're saying, you have told me that, about Jujutsu Kaisen. And Josh has told me about
the last season that came out?
But just period.
Okay.
And Josh was telling me about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I actually said it correctly this time.
You talk about a show, Jay?
So you
man.
So full Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
I always want to say Jujutsu.
A lot of people just say JJK.
Yeah. So I was loving JJK all the way up until like the midpoint where I'm gonna go back to it, but then like when they had the panda and all this stuff, it was just a sudden everything. It was great. The action ramped up, and then like in the middle of the season, like all right, we're gonna go back down. It's like, but like what? No.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, see, here's the thing. Part of the enjoyment of JJK has to come from your enjoyment from anime as well, because there's also a random episode towards the end of the first season where they play baseball. That happens in a lot of anime episodes.
I was gonna say, but Dragon Ball.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of filler. Mm-hmm. So if you're not used to that, or if that's not something you can deal with, there's usually a drop off action wise, and then that's just anime for the most part.
So the flip side, Full Metal, even though it did have some action at the beginning, you don't get the idea of what the show is about. So it's like, there's this guy that could transmute. Sure, he tried to resurrect his mom, lost his brother, but in a way. But then like more further into the season, you get to the gluttony and lust comes, and then like it gets better. So
it ramps up.
So I'm going to be like at the moment, even though I did start, watching One Piece, and that has gone away.
Yeah, One Piece is a whole other beast. That's yeah.
So I'm those are the shows that I'm trying to watch right now.
No, I get you, but like I said, I say all that to say, like, for you, when I say Dark Matter is a good show, it's a good show to me, but it's also coming from a person who I watch a lot of TV shows.
And that's not with I know her name starts with A. Jessica Alba. I think that's Dark Angel.
Yeah, that's a whole. I don't know what that is.
So what is Dark Matter about?
So I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it, simplified. So you got this. Okay, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a known actor. Mm-hmm. When I say known, I don't think he's been in a lot of stuff. But you see his face, you know who. Yeah. You be like, oh, he's one guy from whatever. So it starts off with this guy. He's living he's like not a scientist, but like he went to school for like physics or whatever. So he ends up becoming like a teacher at a school, right? Because he made a decision in life I think what happened was this girl got pregnant, and so when that happened, he basically gave up like the lab work and decided to just be a teacher, whatever, blase, blase, right? So they have a son. They had 2 kids, but one died at birth, like a twin. So he's just living his regular life. Homeboy calls him up. He won like this science award. This is all in the first episode. Calls him up. He's like, hey man, I want you to come celebrate with me for winning this award. So they go out. He goes out to the bar with him. They drink, have a good time. He leaves the bar. He gets kidnapped by this guy. Basically, this guy kidnaps him, throws him in this box, and sends him to another reality. It turns out the guy that kidnapped him was another version of himself. Right. So he basically replaced him, took his life, and put him. They swapped lives essentially. So he put him in his version of reality, where he didn't, old girl didn't have the baby, so he went on to become like this well-known scientist, whatever, won all these awards. And so he spends the whole season trying to get back to his reality, while the other guy's pretending to be him, and then a lot of decisions happen. There's some other twists towards the end, but that's the basic premise of it. Because basically what he builds is his box. So you know Schrodinger's cat, right? Mm-hmm. So he basically builds a bigger box version of that.
I understand. I got it. So he's like Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty, except not the main one. So he's like...
I haven't watched Rick and Morty.
No episodes?
I watched like one episode. One or two. I watched at most maybe 3. The only episode I remember vividly was them going to like a planet where that the people were ruled by it was like a sentient being planet. Like this lady was like the ruler. That's the only episode I don't remember exactly what happens in the episode.
If you were to describe an episode to a person, it would probably be very random. So I can understand how somebody would not be interested.
Well, it wasn't that I wasn't interested. It's like you. I just never went back like this because even though I do watch a lot of TV, there's also a lot of shows that I love, but I just never finished because I just didn't come back. Like a show called Quantico. Loved Quantico. Stopped watching midway through the first season because for whatever reason I don't know. I just never went back. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. It's just sometimes I never get back to it. But great show, Rick and Morty. I had a fun time. Just never went back.
I gotta finish the show.
You should watch. I mean, you're watching Brotherhood. I'm not, because I don't want to throw another anime at you. Because that's already. Because there's another one. I can't think of the name of the line. It's like something Brotherhood, but it's a good show too. But I definitely say finish Full Metal Alchemist first.
And I know you like Fire Squad, and I've been wanting to go back to that.
They got a new season out too.
There was a clip where this person had like deflected or something, like it was a big blast. Maybe it went out to the moon. I was like, oh, this show is bigger scale than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. That's another good show. Speaking of, I did just finish watching the new season of Solo Leveling, but that's neither here nor there.
Then Arcane. I've heard about Arcane, which isn't necessarily...
I've watched the first season of that.
And then, of course, Dexter and Dark Mirror.
Dark Mirror? Black Mirror?
Black Mirror.
Yeah, I did watch the new season of that. Good show. Hey, man. But movies. Talk about movies, James. I can talk about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's I'm not going to say the great divide between us, but, like, I love movies, but I watch more TV shows. You watch more movies. So that's kind of our...
I honestly don't remember what else we... I was saying we because there was that Love Hurts movie that, want to watch with you. Mm-hmm. I know we said that we might watch Companion, but
we got to put a list together.
I can't remember what other movies I've seen. Like, is there anything else that I've told you I've seen?
Recently? Mm-hmm. And outside of the movie review you did, I don't know. I don't know what you've seen.
Okay. Because I know there are sometimes movies that I don't like. I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to review it or anything.
Makes sense.
Okay. There was something else I want to talk about. I don't remember.
I mean, I know what we can get into.
I do too. But go ahead.
I want to know what you was about to say. Because I want to see if what was
NBA playoffs.
That's not what I was talking about. But yeah, we can get into that too. I was going to say 2 big things we could talk about in the vein of movies and TV would be the Daredevil series.
Yes.
And the casting reveal for Doomsday, all the chairs. I know it's kind of old, but yeah, the reveal for that, which basically is like, hey, you remember this guy from this one movie? He in it. This woman, she in it.
Yeah. And then they said that's not even all of them, which, I would hope so, because there's a lot of people that people would want in there.
That's a lot. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to all have, like, major screen time, though.
Right. I saw a report, which, I don't really put stock in reports anymore, but there was a report saying that Tom Holland's going to be voicing Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's just going to be in his costume all movie.
Makes sense. I still haven't watched the cartoon Spider-Man show.
The first couple episodes, I was like, all right, this is a nice take, and then I was like, are we not tired of Spider-Man? Because, like, it's the same origins, the same story. We're just swapping out people. So, Spider-Man, the first trilogy, his right-hand man, his friend was Harry Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who, even if he had a right-hand man. I know he was, like, really close to Gwen Stacy. I was going to say Gwen Stacy. But then, Miles Morales has Genki. Tom Holland has Ned Leeds. Oh my goodness, me and these names. So now this one has Nico, and it's like it's the same thing. We're just swapping out a character and a character, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm getting Spider-Man fatigue.
Well, it's also too, you're not the target audience.
Well, it's true. And one thing I was telling my daughter, because she was saying, who do we? And I know you've said this. Do we really need live action remakes for all these animated movies? And I was like, I hear you, and it got me thinking about, that was something else. But you have to remember that for some people, this is their first time watching this.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, not to cut you off, but it's just like some people's. If you ask some people what their favorite Star Wars is, it's going to be the new. It's going to be the episode
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, because that's what they grew up on.
Exactly. And that's one thing, the Pokemon, I know, but I don't want to say, quagmire. I can't think of the word I'm looking for if that was the first word that came to my mind. But it's like, all the people who started Generation 1, 2, 3, we started from these early generation, right?
Mm-hmm. Generation little with Robert Nero. Robert Nero generation?
Jeez, I don't know if today,
it's the long sleeves.
The overnight.
It's the long sleeves.
I've been up since 8 o'clock yesterday.
That will tend to do it.
I did take a little nap before I got here, but still, I'm not a lot of sleep. But yeah, so we started generations, the earlier ones, so everybody's coming out generation 7, 8, and 9, and me personally, I like 7, but it's like, we all agree that these newer ones aren't as good as the older ones, but, that's what they grew up on. So you hear somebody say, Generation 8's my favorite. I'm like, look, they're Pokemon games. They're for kids. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
You're not a gatekeep.
Yeah, they are what they are. But
go ahead.
But for some people, who take this seriously, that battle competitively, they're like, I don't know how you can like Generation 8.
I don't know, because I feel like that's the same. To go back to what I was saying earlier, I feel like the same thing with LeBron and MJ. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like a lot of people, I say 85% of the people who consider MJ to be the GOAT are like older people. Mm-hmm. But like most younger people, because they grew up with LeBron, because LeBron has been in the league forever.
I agree. Yeah.
So like that's their GOAT, because he's been at the top for how long now?
And
you know what I'm saying? Like 20 years. Could you imagine somebody being born in 2012 and all they know is LeBron being great?
Right. And that's all they've been told. Oh, he's breaking this record. He's breaking that record. I was talking to my dad, and, I was telling him about I did 6 players for that GOAT calculation. And I told him who I had so far as number 1. And he was like, I'm not surprised, even though it's not who you would think it is. Mm-hmm. And when LeBron and Michael and Jordan are very close. Obviously, LeBron's career isn't over.
Yeah.
But I think LeBron either had, like, he was, like, maybe 2 points under or whatever. And I'm like, well, next season he's going to be, in front of Jordan. And I told my dad, I was like, I think most people would probably feel that if you are Jordan, person who thinks that Jordan's the best, you do feel like the numbers do say that LeBron is better. Even though, you want to hold on to the finals record, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the numbers do say LeBron is better, but you feel, or you just want to, you stay in what you know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's also, a lot of people's argument, too, is, yes, LeBron's numbers are better, but for MJ to have the numbers he's had in the short amount of time that he played,
Exactly. So,
because LeBron had to play 20 seasons just to pass some of MJ's records, and MJ didn't play 20 seasons. He also left and then came back.
yeah.
So it's like, come on, man.
Right now, the thing that is putting LeBron over is longevity.
Yeah.
And I would say, before, 5 years ago, people wouldn't necessarily say longevity was a GOAT, criteria. But, I had to include it. So, Jordan only played 15 seasons, and LeBron's in like 21, 22. So,
and that's why I said on a previous episode where I was like, I think when he broke the record of like points or whatever, I can't remember, it was like 30,000 or whatever it was. I was like, I'm not trying to, obviously I am not doing it because I'm not an NBA player. I'm not trying to take anything away from his accomplishment, but like, when you play 20 seasons, you're going to get 30,000 points.
Exactly.
That's all. Come on, man. you play 20 to 30 seasons and you don't get 30,000 points?
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
I do have a question, though.
Okay.
I know we sidetracked, but that's what we do. If he wins the championship this year, does that change anything?
So I remember when he won the fourth one in the bubble, and I was very anti-LeBron. And while I still feel the bubble championship is, an asterisk, I do feel like he's better than, I give him credit for. So if he wins this one, he got Luka, but at the same time, the team isn't as great as it could be. So
he would still be a very pivotal part of the team.
I wouldn't say that this would just automatically make him my guaranteed number one, greatest of all time. But it would definitely.
It changes the conversation.
Yeah, like right now, I'm sticking like with MJ. But if he wins another one, even though it's only 5, it's like. And in season 22, he's winning a championship.
Yeah.
I don't know, but at the same time, it's just the things that go through my mind. Like the other 3 years that he's been there, obviously he's been there 5 years, but it's like since he's won a championship 3 years. He hasn't really ensured the team, but I don't know. It's so many things. So I could go back and forth, but yes, it would give me a little bit more pause for him.
I feel like one positive. I mean, not to say it's only because he has a lot of them, but I feel like one positive is if he wins this one, he would have 5, and MJ has 6 with one team. He's had 5 with multiple teams, which like obviously it can be a positive and a negative because it means you have to go change teams, but at the same time, you could also look at it as like, I've taken 3 different teams to the finals and won.
So, yes, when you put it that way, it does sound impressive, but in my head, sticking with one team and kind of growing organically, okay, it's the way LeBron did it. So, he went to another team and created his own team. So to me, that kind of, I don't want to say, I would say it nullifies it because it's not like if Damian Lillard stayed with oh my goodness.
The Trailblazers?
Yes, please. Oh my goodness. The Trailblazers. And, let's say played 18 seasons, but he won 1. I feel like that one would be worth more to me than either one of LeBron. Well, I won't say his first one. Let's say his second one with the Heat. It'll be worth more than that one.
For the record, I'm not saying that positive outweighs Jordan's 6 with one team. I'm just saying if I had to give him a positive, like he did it with multiple teams. Because the thing about it is like, yes, it's a negative because he had different teams and he had to do different combinations in order to get to the finals. But on any one of those teams, he was still one of the main guys. Like it wasn't like, because I think the first year he went to the Heat, they didn't win because he was playing backseat to Dwayne Wade because it was Dwayne Wade's team. But when he stepped up and decided to be a pivotal part of the team, they won each time he went somewhere. Like each team he went to, I'm not saying he was always the reason, but he was a big part of the reason why they won.
I made that face for each time. So I think what you're saying is each time he went to a different team, he won at least one. So yeah, I'm not disputing that. But each time that I want to say he went to the finals, he didn't win, obviously, because
No, I'm talking about each championship he won with each one of those teams.
Yeah.
He was a big part of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he went to the Lakers and it was just like, all right, we got LeBron, and they won in the bubble, and he didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he was still
that guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I put it more on the positive side, because he did that because as you know, or you don't know because you don't play in the NBA, but from watching the NBA as long as you have, you know, team chemistry means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you to jump around and go to multiple teams, have to worry about chemistry and still win each time.
I think the part that messes things up more is when he does like the mid-season trades, and I'm not just saying it's just him. Obviously, the team has some kind of input in it as well. But I can think of 2 times. I know with the Cleveland Cavaliers when he just switched it up and got rid of Rodney Hood and all them.
Yeah.
No. It's when he got rid of Dwayne Wade and all them, and he got like more other pieces. So that's when I feel like, you know, team chemistry matters, or it was a negative for him.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I hear you. Like, if he goes to another team, he has to build team chemistry, and
which isn't always easy, I imagine.
no, but I think that's one of the reasons why he wasn't as successful. I'm not saying that he would have been successful. He would have got 4 in Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland is a small market team. People didn't really want to go to Cleveland. You know, like Joakim Noah said, you know, what is there? Who vacations in Cleveland?
I don't know, but if you got LeBron and you keep Kyrie and y'all won against the Warriors, I feel like people would come.
Yeah, Kyrie did leave.
Like, if they kept both of them, they've established that they can win with the other pieces they had. You don't think another piece would realize that? Like, even though Cleveland is Cleveland, it's still Ohio. It's still like, I may not like it here, but I can go here and win because I got LeBron and Kyrie. And they just took down the Warriors, who won 73 games in a season.
I'm trying to think of teams that people did. So the only ones I can think of that won a championship and didn't. So the Mavericks 2011, you know, they blew up their roster and they weren't, you know, anything. And Detroit.
Some of not Rasheed, Ben Wallace. Detroit?
Yeah, but they kept their, you know, core.
They didn't get rid of everybody. They got rid of most people, though.
Right. I was saying, you know, what championship team won and nobody wants to go there. I don't think that neither one of those are really good. I think the Mavericks is a good one, but the Detroit, I don't think that's relevant.
I don't know. I just know this, to kind of go back to what we were talking about. It's been an interesting playoff season. Season. It's one of those playoff seasons where, like, who you think is going to dominate is not dominating. Who you think is going to have an advantage doesn't have an advantage. Like, everybody's like, oh, Houston and Detroit, they young, they got no experience. And they out there just like, they playing, they hearts out.
Yeah, I and Jimmy got injured, so I don't.
Well, is it official? Because I know they said they're going to do an MRI. I haven't. Is it like he's officially out?
He's out for at least game 3. I don't know if he's going to be out for more. And, you know, Curry and Draymond just can't do it on their own.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
Not against Houston. Mm-hmm. Houston have talent.
Yeah.
They're not, the talent, all of the talent isn't consistent, but when they play, they are hard to beat.
I don't see them making it all the way, but yeah, I definitely think, you know, they're the 3rd seed for a reason.
Oh, no, I don't think they're going to make it to the finals.
No,
or
Lakers
the conference finals. But I can see them beating Golden State.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they're 2nd seed. Lakers are the 3rd seed. OKC, you know, definitely doing their thing. Mm-hmm. I can't remember.
They just came there from a 29-point deficit against Memphis.
I was there. I cut it off so I couldn't remember if they won or not.
Oh, they won.
Okay.
They won. It was like 118 to 109 or something like that. But they came back because they were down by like 29 points, and then Ja got hurt and went out of the game.
I saw that.
And then they just went on a comeback. Because I think SJ ended up having like 31 points. But
I was explaining John Morant to my mom. That was quite a bit.
I can only imagine how that conversation went.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about Ja, man. Like, I really like Ja.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want him to be like bigger than what he is, like in the league. But like, and I'm not even talking about his antics off the court or whatever. I'm just talking about just him. Like, I feel like he's getting to that point. I feel like he's at that point where he has to decide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like he's slowly sliding into that box of like being like a Trae Young, which is a great player, just on a team that just is whatever. Being a Devin Booker, who's a great player, just on a like pre KD, just on a post KD, but like being on a team that's just whatever. Like he's like, I need them to do something, man.
So yeah, I believe from what I heard, well, first of all, not just heard, but they said that the on-off numbers when John Morant's not on the court. Well, I know that's how it was been going like the past couple of years. So there is reason that they could trade him. I feel like Chicago's appropriate, but we don't have to go there.
Trade him, no.
I don't want him to go to Chicago because I don't see him as a winning point guard. Sure, he can get butts and seats and everything, but he would have to change up. He would have to.
I don't think he needs to change the way he plays. I just think he needs more consistent people around him.
I don't know. I can't. I'm just a strong person. I just strongly feel like your team can't. Your success doesn't come from the star being a point guard.
I mean, I guess define star though.
Okay, let me say number one option.
Okay, that's different. Yeah. Because I feel like, just to a report I was making earlier, because I feel like Kyrie was a star when he won with LeBron, but he wasn't the number one option.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I give you that. But was Isaiah Thomas the number one option?
It's on Bobbery.
From the bad.
I would say so. It was a different era, but there are exceptions. So Steph Curry and people like to say, "Oh, well, Steph Curry isn't really. He's like a combo guard." Blah, blah, blah.
But he's still the number one option, though.
And he's a point guard. Like he is the point guard of that team, even though he doesn't have the ball in his hand all the way, hands all the time. Isaiah, like there's not many, but there are exceptions.
Yeah, I was just more so just curious because I don't remember a lot about the Bad Boy Pistons as far as. Like, I remember them, but I don't remember the players like that.
Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer.
So he was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No shade to him, but he was number one. But I get your point, but like I just feel like because you got Desmond Bane, he's a good guard. Jaren Jackson Jr. he's so up and down.
Yep.
And then I can't remember other people around him. Like I know they got Edie, who's up and coming.
Yeah, he's not doing bad.
But like I feel like if he had more consistent players, because like to your point you're trying to make earlier, like when you take him off the floor, it's like they just. So that's why I say I don't think he needs to change his game. I just think he needs more consistent players around him that can give him help, so that he doesn't have to do all the things he does just to get them to win by 4.
Yep. So I was thinking that if he did go to the Bulls, who would they pair him with? And Kevin Durant, I feel like isn't really going to be. First of all, I don't think Kevin Durant is going to contribute that much to a winning team. I don't want him to go to the Mavericks.
I disagree with that.
I feel like. All right, here I go. I think Kevin Durant is overrated. Hear me out.
Before you even make your argument, I disagree. But I'm listening.
I'm not saying that Kevin Durant isn't good. I'm not saying that he can't get buckets. I'm not saying any of that. As far as, and obviously when he was with the Nets, there's the numbers when they were playing the 13 games that they had. Sure, blah blah blah. When it comes down to it, they didn't win. Injuries, it's part of it. So Kevin Durant gets injured, just like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, everybody knows.
Kawhi Leonard is balling right now.
Exactly. He can get injured at any moment, and I shouldn't say that, but it is a reality.
It's the truth.
So
walking in the tunnel. Oh.
So I feel the Warriors were 7-3-9 before Kevin Durant got there. Sure, they didn't win, but they were a darn good team before he got there. When he got there, they won 2 championships, almost a third one. So they were a great team, possibly one of the best teams. But the Warriors also won after he left. And what has Kevin Durant done afterwards? So not impactful is the word I'm looking for. But how much of a guarantee? What is the percentage that your team goes to a deep playoff run championship with Kevin Durant on your team?
With everybody being at their top and everybody playing their best?
Just period. Like, obviously, you know.
Well, that's why I asked, because it varies. Because, like, if you add him to a already established great team like the Warriors, it's substantially high. You add him to a Nets team that doesn't have anybody besides him and Kyrie. Kyrie doesn't play a lot of games because he's hurt. It's not that high.
Sure. And then, you know, when they got to the championship, they got to the second round and lost to the Bucks. So, I mean, you can call that injuries. But then, you know, they didn't even make the playoffs this year.
But I was talking about.
I'm in general.
You're talking about general, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you add him to, like, the Suns, because the thing about I'm gonna say Kyrie. The thing about KD is he adds a lot of stock to your team.
Agreed.
But he is an assassin that you add to a roster that already is working at a well-oiled machine status. Like, he's not the piece that you like, okay, we got a bunch of guys that are just strong role players. We add KD, we're going to the championship. He's not that guy. He's the guy you add to a team that already has great players. We just need that piece that just puts us over the top. He's a strong assassin that's going to bring you 20 plus a night.
And to me, that's not saying much. You know, if you have to add him to a team that's already great for him to, like, actually get you there, then he's not.
But he's not. To me, overrated means he's not worth what he brings. Like, overrated means, like, overrated to me means if we had a chance to go get KD, I don't want him because he's not going to bring anything. You're going to want KD.
Yeah, so when you use the word worth, and a lot of people, you know, MVP conversations, value, all this stuff, to me, money comes in with that, but that's a whole different topic. I know what you mean. That's to go back to Kawhi. So when he's healthy, he will get your team to the championship. Like, I'm sorry, not the champion, the playoffs. Like, he has gotten the Clippers to the playoffs, not necessarily alone, but, you know, with not much. So James Harden isn't the person he used to be. Paul George wasn't necessarily the greatest, but, you know, once I keep wanting to say Kyrie. Once Kawhi was healthy, they got to the playoffs, got to a conference championship one time. KD healthy, and sure, he's not always healthy like the whole season, but they missed the playoffs, and I just like.
But that's my point. Like, I get what you're saying. I feel like it's two different sides of a coin.
Okay.
Like, if you're talking about him as far as, like, his ability to drag, but to take a team to the finals, that's one thing. But to say he's overrated, to me, overrated refers to his ability in his play. Like, if you're saying he's overrated, that means, like, why is he winning scoring titles? Because he's overrated.
In a way. So not necessarily, I mean, it does have something to do with his play, but, you know, rated is just how people view him. So in my mind, overrated is people put him up here.
But people put him up there because of his scoring, though. Nobody rarely talks about KD being like, oh, he could take a team to the finals. When people talk about KD, they mention him as one of the all-time scorers in the league. They don't say, oh, KD gonna take you there. They always say, when people talk about KD, it's about his skill, his ability. He can get buckets. People rarely say, oh, if we had KD by himself, he gonna take, because he's already proven it. He left Golden State, went to Brooklyn, didn't go nowhere. Went to the Suns, didn't go nowhere. So nobody's saying, oh, KD's going to take us to the championship. But when people mention KD, like, oh, that's 20 plus a night. We need that.
I was trying, so I put my head down because I was trying to think of people who led the league in scoring. And obviously KD isn't leading the league in scoring right now. But did anybody lead the league in scoring and not make the championship? And I can't think of any. James Harden, I don't know if I said championship, I meant playoffs. James Harden, playoffs. Luka Doncic, playoffs. They made it to the finals. Joel Embiid, even though that's a whole different thing. I'm sure they were in the playoffs when he was leading. Sure, he can score. That's what he's good for. That's what he's known for. I guess.
But that's why I say it's two different conversations. Because, like, I get what you're saying as far as, like, what else can he bring besides just scoring? I get that. That's nobody's disputing that. But to say he's overrated, that's just saying he's not a great player to me.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he isn't that. I don't want to say that guy. He isn't the guy that will get you, like, you just put him on a chip, you put him on a team, and y'all going to the championship.
But that's what I'm saying. Nobody's saying that, though.
I feel like that's how people, like, with everybody's like, oh, yeah,
Because everybody's looking at him as being an all-time great scorer.
The KD sweepstakes. Like, oh, man, where's KD going? KD this, KD that.
Because
I'm good. Give me Jaylen Brown.
Because, like I said, they're looking at him, whenever people talk about where's KD going, they also look at it, the team that he's going to, the pieces that are already there. They never mention, oh, he's going to go to this team and drag a bunch of just regular NBA players to the finals. It's always, let's add him. Like, when they put him, Booker, and Bill together, right? It was all these pieces together. You add KD to that. You add KD to the Warriors. He's already, you plugged him in with already great players.
And you would think that they would do good. They had high expectations.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the KD of it all. It's not, oh, well, if we just put him on the Hornets, KD will get us there. Nobody's going to say that.
That's what, but like you said, if you put him on Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, and then they disappoint, that's the point I'm making. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like, everybody has this idea, like, he is a good piece that can uplift your team. And
right.
And sure, yes, I agree with that. But he's not crashing through the ceiling.
Yeah, but that's to go back to my earlier point. That's why I said you also have to. Yes, on paper it looked great with Suns, but you also have to put him on a team where everybody's already functioning well. Like you said yourself, the Warriors had already won 73 games, and you add KD, boom, 2 championships. When you put him on the Suns, Bradley Beal didn't do anything. Yeah, Devin Booker was just.
When he got there, I don't know if it was right after they got to the champion. I don't think it was
Chris
right
Paul.
After. Yeah. So and yeah.
But Chris Paul was doing Chris Paul.
And they changed the team, but just based on what you said, you add them. So it's different. They did end up changing the team.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying I don't think people are just saying, oh, you just add him, it's going to take you through the ceiling, because you have to add him in the right situations with the best players, or they're not best players, but the players playing at their best. Because if you put him on the Suns with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, and you had other good pieces around it, and they were playing, that they played a lot of games together, had great chemistry, and playing well, they probably would have did better. But they didn't. They didn't play well. Beal was hurt a lot of the times, and then when he did play, he wasn't doing much of nothing. But you put him with the Warriors, they already got a system. So you just plug him in. Here's 20 more points a game for y'all. Boom, 2 championships.
So I do want to make a comment. I said something about Jaylen Brown. I don't want people to be like, oh, well, he thinks Jaylen Brown is better than Kevin Durant. First of all, I want to say that it is a conversation to be had.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, Kevin Durant in his prime is different than he is now, but I mean, he is an exceptional player, tall. You can't really teach height. What I'm saying is that, I'm a Mavericks fan. We don't have to talk about that. But if I wanted the Mavericks to go out and get somebody, I don't want them to go out and get Kevin Durant. I'd rather them get Jaylen Brown. And while I'm not saying that Jaylen Brown is a better player, he's younger. And then we were talking about worth, and obviously Jaylen Brown is making a lot of money. So the question is he worth all that money? We don't know.
Well, I feel like money, the worth, the money wise, that's debatable. Because I feel like there's a lot of people making more than what they should. There's a lot of people not making what they should. I don't really get into that.
Most definitely. And the reason I say we don't know is because there isn't a defined. I mean, Jason Tatum, I think, is the consensus number 1 on that team. So Jaylen Brown is somewhat in his shadow, even though he did win Finals MVP. If you give him the keys to a team, then I think we could see the potential, what Jaylen Brown is capable of. Obviously, with Kyrie and KD, how much you're going to get the keys to the team. We don't know, but
Can I ask you a question?
But I always did I say Kyrie and AD? I meant to say Kyrie and AD.
All right, yeah, you did say KD.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't want to throw you off. So with you being a Mavericks fan, which I'm not gonna say I'm the strongest Maverick fan, but I believe in them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But with you being a Mavericks fan, let's say you had AD,
Mm-hmm.
Gafford,
Mm-hmm.
Lively,
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie,
Mm-hmm.
Clay,
Yep.
all playing at their top game, and they said, "Hey, we want to bring in KD." Would you be with that, or would you be for it or against it? Not even taking anything into consideration. They're already playing the best game they can, and they say, "Hey, we want to bring in KD." Would you say yay or nay?
All right. I'm going to say no, but I want to take you through all my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, you said without taking anything else into consideration. So obviously this is after post Luka. If Luka was on the team, I'd say hell no. In a quickness, no.
Well, that's why I didn't ask about Luka.
I know. So with the people we have, Kyrie, even though he's not as injury prone as AD,
Mm-hmm.
there are still some injury concerns. AD is already injury prone. Clay isn't who he used to be anymore.
Mm-hmm.
KD has gotten a lot of injuries lately. So I feel like the reason that we would do all that is to get the hype. I don't think we would do this, even though I think Nico Harrison.
But you already have hype. You got bigs already.
No, hype, HYPE, hype.
Oh, hype.
Yeah.
Got you.
Even though I feel like Nico Harrison is probably not in a modern NBA mindset, I think he would probably do it because of having all these big names on the team. I do not have the highest expectation, even though I think Kyrie, not saying alone, but I think Kyrie can get AD and KD to. That's crazy to think of. Like Kyrie would be the person to get them there. Obviously, KD would be like. What I'm trying to say is, if you had KD and AD on a team, I don't see that as a championship team.
Why?
Because I feel like they are relics of a previous era. And I feel like if this was 5 or more years ago, that, yes, I could see them being playoff team, championship team. I could see that.
So even though AD is averaging 30 points a game, he's still a relic. KD is averaging 25 a game. He's still a relic.
I'm not gonna say that anyway. They're not. I don't think AD is average. I don't think they're averaging that now.
Yeah, before AD, I think before he went to the Mavericks, because he got hurt, he was averaging almost 30 points a game.
Okay. So those are numbers, and numbers don't tell the extent of. So and I'm not saying that hey, just because I heard this doesn't make it gospel.
Mm-hmm.
When AD was on the Lakers, their defensive rating was blah, 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 blah. When they left and Luka got there, who they say is less of a defensive player, their defensive rating went up.
But that's coaching, too.
They have the same coach. JJ Redick was the coach for Anthony Davis before he went to the Mavericks.
Yeah, but I feel like when you bring in a person who doesn't who isn't a defensive person, you have to arrange things to make the team better defensively.
Sure, but what I was getting at is, let's say, KD and AD are averaging all these points. That doesn't really tell you how well the system is doing. And I feel like just adding Kyrie would just bring it all together for some reason. I don't know why I feel that way, but KD and AD, I don't believe in that. Kyrie, KD, and AD, I feel like is a better combination. I feel like we should, listen, I recognize Clay. Clay is a great player.
Don't sound like you are, but it's okay.
I feel like if we're considering KD, just blow it all up. Let's trade AD. Let's trade Clay. I'm there. Like I don't want to be first round, second round.
But y'all, you went to the play-in this year with no Kyrie, a somewhat hurt AD, and the rest of the squad just being average to good.
I think the what's the word? I think the objective was to lose that game. Same thing with the Bulls. Like, I don't think they wanted to be in the playoffs.
But here's the thing: whether even if that's the case, you still got as far as you did without a full squad.
They were doing better before the AD got there. Like, I want to say that they were not even in the play-in picture. They were like in the top 8, and then after Luka left and AD came, obviously AD got injured. That's when they started dropping. So
AD and Kyrie got injured.
Yeah, so getting to the play-in isn't necessarily a good thing. It's worse than where they were.
You could have been in the lottery.
Which is what I would have much rather been in the lottery, possibly get Cooper Flag, who, he did the one game. I've only seen him play one game, and he did not do good that game. So I can't say that I know anything about Cooper Flag. I don't watch college basketball, but I would have much. I don't believe in what we have going on right now.
So, but to ask my question again, now that you've walked me through your mental. Throwing all that out the window. Because essentially, my question was essentially disregarding all of that. A well-oiled machine Mavericks with Kyrie, Clay, AD, Gafford, Lively, and whoever else is on the team, I can't think off the top of my head. If you can plug KD into that as just an assassin to come in and get you buckets, he don't even have to give you 20 a night, but he come in and hit the big three when you need it, or just bring an extra offensive threat, you would say yay or nay. Not even take everything else out the window. Injury, all that out the window.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
That's what I mean. Everything you just said, throw that out the window. I'm just asking simply just on skill alone. Everybody playing at their best. You guys are playing well-oiled machine basketball, and you just need one guy to come in and get you a good strong 10, 15 points when you need it because the game is on the line. You need a guy that you can throw the ball to, hit a big three, and KD's that guy. Would you say yay or nay?
Then yeah, there's no person.
That's all I'm asking.
But that's not realistic. Just to say, to take injuries out of the equation, that's not realistic.
But here's the thing. The reason why I say take those out of the equation is because that's the whole point I was making earlier. KD is just a person you bring. KD has always been the person. Nobody's saying he could take a team to the finals. Just by himself, just a regular team. KD has just been a person to bring in when you need a bucket getter because he's a scoring leader, and he is that guy when he can. Like, if he didn't play the way he played, even though the Warriors, like you said, they won with him, they won without him. The 2 times they won with him, most of the time they wouldn't have won if he wasn't there.
I don't know.
He hit some big shots in some big games.
Right, but we also had players before that could have. I mean,
I get what you're saying. I'm not saying he is the sole reason. I'm just saying because they had him, he was a big difference in key moments. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like yes, that. So yeah, I'm not taking away anything from the team. The team was great. Yes. I just feel like the team was also great before.
I'm not disputing it. I'm just simply saying. When he was with them, he hit big moment shots that helped them win those championships. Same if you were to add him to the Mavericks. Yeah, I'm not asking him to be the KD to lead the team. I'm not asking him to be the big time star on the team. I would just say you bring in KD because you need him to hit big shots. Game's on the line. We need 6 quick big buckets. You get it to KD. You know he can get it for you. Would you get rid of? Would you not take that?
But you had to give me a whole bunch of caveats. You had to say, let's get rid of injuries. Let's say they're all hitting on all cylinders.
Well, because I say that because injuries are always going to be. Injuries are with any team.
So that's being realistic. So yes, if anybody.
That's why I'm. The reason why I'm getting rid of those things is because those are always there. I'm talking about just skill alone.
Then yeah, like if we lived in a perfect world, then yes, like I would take that team all day, any day. Like that's a bunch of talented players who are pieces on championship teams. They're great,
right?
And I felt like their games would complement each other.
That's the whole point I'm making. Like that's why I said remove injuries and all that because when I talk about KD being an assassin, I'm purely talking about his skill. Like all the other stuff aside, just skill alone. KD is a guy that you can bring in, and he's gonna get you buckets when you need it.
I hear you. I can't.
Like all the other like money, injury prone, all that stuff. Yes, that's there. You take that into consideration if you're a team bringing him. But if you just look at it on paper, and you're looking at these guys like, okay, KD's available, we can get him, and he comes in with his skill level, boom. It's at least a conversation to be had.
So let me ask you, with injuries, with everything, all the stuff that I'm worried about. Would you rather have KD on the Mavericks, Jaylen Brown, or somebody else?
I'll take KD.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is injuries are always going to be there. Like Kawhi Leonard, you don't, like you said yourself, you don't know when he's going to get hurt, but you still take him.
But there are people that's less injured, like Jaylen Brown.
But that's what I'm saying. But like at their peak, who's higher?
But KD isn't at his peak anymore. Like I think you're seeing rose-tinted glasses.
What I mean by peak is when they're healthy. When KD is healthy, who are you going to depend on more, KD or Jaylen Brown?
What do you mean depend on?
To get the bucket.
When
healthy, full strength.
If Jaylen Brown is on my team,
let's say you got both of them on your team. And they're both healthy. Who you throwing the ball to?
It depends on the situation. Like I'm sure there are some times where you're not always gonna go to KD. So I mean but I'm putting them separate. So if you had Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, AD, Kyrie, KD, AD. I'm going to go to KD and Jaylen Brown equally because obviously they are the main. But if they're both on the same team, I'm not just going to exclusively go to Kevin Durant.
No, and I get that, but and that's why I say I say that to say, yes, he is. He may be injury prone. Same with Kyrie.
You know what
Kawhi?
Yeah,
it's the K's, man. Same with Kawhi. Like yes. You don't always know if he's going to be available, but when he is available,
sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen. I hear you, and I agree with what you're saying.
And for the record, I'm not saying I wouldn't take Jaylen Brown, but I'm just using KD because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you said you asked me the same scenario if I'm taking injuries into consideration. Even with him being injured prone as he is, he still has played a lot of games, and when he has played, he's got buckets.
All right, so I'm gonna do this, and you might be mad at me for it.
He's also played with Kyrie and Clay before, so that chemistry is already built in as well.
Are we really putting Clay in this conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
Clay is. Here's the thing. Clay at his worst is still better than some 3-point shooters in the league now. I'm not saying he's the Clay of old, but he's still better than some 3-point shooters.
Mavericks. Would you rather have LeBron or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
LeBron is too. He's too much. He's too big of a name. He brings too much. He's just a lot.
And yeah, me personally, the biggest thing is I just don't want his hands in just be a player.
All KD wants to do is just show up and play ball. That's all he want to do.
From what I think everybody would agree with that. I'm not saying I didn't want to say that because we don't know him, but I think we would all agree with that.
But when stuff happens like it's different. Like when stuff happens on the Suns or the Nets, you don't automatically think, oh, KD had a hand in it. But when stuff happens on the Lakers or Cleveland, like your first thought is like, oh, LeBron. Even if he didn't do it, he knew about it.
Yeah.
Or he had some input.
Yeah.
Same with Joker when they got rid of the coach. Everybody was like, because he's such a big star, did he at least know? Did they at least come to him like, hey, we thinking about getting rid of the coach?
Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, did I? You were talking about the Nuggets, right? Are you saying Mike Malone is not the coach of the Nuggets anymore?
You did not know this? He got fired before the playoffs.
I know.
They let him go with 3 games left in the season.
I know there are 2 people. So Mike Booten,
the Memphis Grizzlies coach got let go.
Right.
And Mike Malone got let go 3 games before the season ended.
I didn't think it was Mike Malone.
Yes. They let him go. I think they got rid of him and the guy above him, I think, too.
Who was that? Okay, where was I? I missed this.
Yes.
I knew there was 2 coaches. So Grizzlies.
And the Nuggets.
Mike Budenholzer, right? I thought it was the
no, because Budenholzer's still around.
Right, but no, I thought he got fired.
I thought he was.
He got fired.
I thought he was still coaching. Who was he coaching?
The Suns.
Well, that's why I don't know. After they didn't make the playoffs, I stopped keeping up with that.
Right. I think So I Mike Malone.
Yeah, it sent you didn't hear about this shit?
I might have I know I might have, and I might just be confusing Mike Budenholzer with Mike Malone.
Maybe. I don't know. How long have we been recording? I don't even know.
It's
I just thought about that. But they let him go. I think there was like 3 or 4 games left in the season, and they let him go.
So let me just look up NBA coaches fired in 2025 because I feel like
I say it was like 2 or 3.
Wow, that is not 2025.
Like I said, I know for a fact the Grizzlies got let go. I think it was another one outside of the Nuggets. Can't remember. It might have been the Suns.
So Mike Budenholzer, David Griffin.
Who did he coach?
The Pelicans.
Yeah, that was the other one I remember. Yeah.
Calvin Booth was the manager, so that's not. Oh, what is he? Okay, so I guess it is Mike Malone that, because I remember him and
the guy above him got fired. They both got let go.
I don't know why I didn't comprehend that it was That's crazy.
So that's a lot of people saying that alone was going to affect the Nuggets in the playoffs because you got rid of it. Because he's been there for 10 years?
Maybe.
He's been there for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And you got rid of him. He didn't even finish the season. It was before the playoffs started they got rid of him.
Yeah. I remember everybody was like, why are they doing this? With the Grizzlies, I think everybody was like, yeah, that's fine. But then, like, the Nuggets, everybody was like, it's not as big as Luka. Listen, Luka is not going to top anything. I mean, Luka's going to top everything.
Well, I feel like it's big in a different way.
Yeah,
exactly. I feel like Luka was the biggest player-wise. Mike Malone was the biggest coach-wise. Because you won a championship with him, and your team is number 4.
You have the greatest player on your team,
and your team is number 4. Like it's not like they barely made the playoffs because they're in the hunt for the playoffs, and you got rid of him before the season's over.
Yeah, it's almost like you're just saying, all right, we're throwing a towel to this season. We're not trying to win a championship.
Which, by the way, they're playing. That would it look like.
Yeah.
But then again, Kawhi, like I said, Kawhi he's playing his tail off. Because Russell
Yep, I did it too.
Russell Westbrook isn't playing good.
So the last thing I heard about Russell Westbrook was when he missed that layup when he should have held onto the ball and then he fouled the person.
I'll say this. What I heard somebody else say this, and I agree with them. When it comes to Westbrook, you got to ride the ride. There's gonna be highs and there's gonna be lows. He's gonna make some bad decisions at times. But when you need him in certain situations, like when he hit that big 3, I think in game 2, like he's gonna show up, but there's gonna be some lows that you're gonna have to expect.
You don't have to ride the wave; you can just not sign him to your team.
Yeah, he's still a good player. I would take a Westbrook on my team.
Westbrook and KD.
He wouldn't. I mean, he wouldn't be like if I was looking for people to bring him. I mean, I wouldn't be like at the top of the list. Like, oh, we got to go get Westbrook. But if I needed, if I had a piece, if I had a hole that I needed to fill, and he was one of those people that was available, like he would be in high consideration.
So I'm definitely not the biggest Chris Paul fan, but I'm not talking about career wise. I'm just talking about right now. I would say Chris Paul over Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, but I feel like that depends on the style you're trying to play, though. Because like Chris Paul is going to be a floor general. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the ball to who he needs to get to. Westbrook is going to be an energy guy. He's going to play full speed, hard nose basketball. Like if you got a team that wants to grind it out and they're going to play fast, you get a Westbrook. Chris Paul ain't going to play fast.
Westbrook is also going to get you turnovers, and I know Chris Paul is a floor raiser, and I don't think Westbrook really brings anything. Like, sure, play hard, but I mean, obviously that's not necessarily always a good thing.
But I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, neither one of them are going to make a big difference.
Right.
So I feel like that's why I said to me that's why I said it boils down to the style you want to play, depending upon who you pick, because they're both just going to be strong role players either way. So I don't know. All right, guys. Yep. We didn't get to anything else.
You were trying to push the movies out of me, and I just was not.
Well, cause I just went with the flow of the conversation. The conversation went to basketball. So hey man. I asked this last question before we wrap it up.
Okay.
Since we're talking about basketball, who you got winning it all?
I have not. Okay.
If you had to make a pick, who you got winning it all? Well, okay, I'll make it easier for you. Who you got in the finals? Who you got playing in the finals?
I'm gonna say the sleeper picks, OKC and the Cavaliers, but I feel like it's if I were to go with the ones that I would be more confident in, it would still be between Cleveland and Boston. Would I take Boston over Cleveland? I'm just gonna say OKC and Cleveland. I feel like people aren't really going to really want to watch that, but
I feel like they will. Because you got SGA, who a lot of people are saying he's probably going to win the MVP this year. And this is like kind of like, I can say it's coming out year, but I feel like, and you got Spider or Donovan Mitchell, who's like, he's been flirting around with, winning the championship. So like it would be, you got on one hand you got Donovan, who's been in the league for a while, had a lot of talent but hadn't really won anything, and then you got SGA with a young OKC squad up and coming. I feel like that would be a good. That's how I would sell it. I feel like it would be a good selling. I would probably say OKC and Boston though. I feel like Boston is just.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I agree. That's definitely the safe pick that I wanted to.
The only thing that hurts Boston is they don't always play hard. So like, they got to show up. Well, and what I mean by that is like sometimes you watch them and it's just like you can look and tell it's just like, hey, man, we just going through the motions. And
a lot of time that does come from teams that just won a championship. They're like, it's not necessarily being content, but
that's how they were when they won a championship.
What's the word? You know you're good, so you don't really have to play that hard.
They play down to their.
Yeah, because you're confident in the fact that you can get back there, no matter who you play.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they played like that before they even won the championship. It's like they, I don't know. They're gonna shoot a lot of threes, and sometimes those don't always fall for them. Mm-hmm. So, but. If I had to pick, I still would say Boston and OKC. I feel like it's gonna come down to OKC and LA in the conference finals, though.
Taking LA all the way out.
So it's hard to cause I can see LA beating Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't know who they would play next. I think they play the Warriors if the Warriors beat Houston. So I can see them beating the Warriors. I can definitely see them beating Houston.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they would have, and this is great. As much as I want the Warriors to be better than Houston, I feel like the Lakers would have a tougher time with Houston. I feel like Houston has more pieces that matter.
Well, see, I think what it is with Houston, like skill wise.
Depth is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say skill wise. Golden State is more skilled than Houston, but Houston is just younger and they got a lot of energy and a lot of talent, like that they don't know what to do with just yet. So I feel like when it comes to the Lakers got talent, they got energy, but they also got experience and skill.
For sure.
So it's like even though like Houston has more depth, you still got more experience and more skilled players than Houston has on LA. But then again, LA only really has like 3 or 4 strong players.
Yep.
So, but Houston has a lot of players, but all of them, which to my earlier point, they're not always consistent. Like Jaylen Green,
exactly
7 points.
Exactly.
He scored 30-something points. So,
I remember when, that draft happened, I put Jaylen Green in 2K. I put Jaylen Green and Evan Mobley on the same team. And, 2K is really good about making their potential high for rookies. Mm-hmm. And they both, just started really knocking it out of the park. Evan Mobley wasn't... Anyway, he was doing better than he does in real life. Yeah. But Jaylen Green, it's sad to see that Jaylen Green isn't living up to the hype. And not saying that he's bad. I mean, he's not.
He would be if he was more consistent.
Yeah.
Because when he's at his best, he's a great player, but you just don't know what you're gonna get from him.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know. But anyways, that's another episode of The Biggest Short.
I do want to say one more thing. So
I feel like we're gonna go a whole other hour.
Yeah, I got my capture card and
good deal.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered just came out, and I've always been wanting to play the original, but I just never got back to it. So they just released remaster. I am going to be playing it, and I was thinking every now and then you can come, and then we both get on the mic and just comment on the gameplay while we're playing.
Because I'm not going to play it. I will watch and comment, but I'm not going to. Let me not lie.
Yeah.
It could happen, but I'm not going to say that it could happen.
I will say that I won't be recording video of us. It'll just be audio.
No, okay.
So cool. All right, but yeah, thank y'all for watching. You can find the podcast on all the socials. I say all of them, but there's a lot of them. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the big and short of it all. Sometimes it's the big and short of it. I am on Instagram, Slim Jimothy, SLIM. I did say it right. JIMOTHY _.
Celtics down by 2. All right. You can find me on Instagram at DA_Bear, BEAR 29. You already said you can find the show on all the socials.
Check out the Chillington Store collection, Chillington Collection Store.
Yeah, do that as well.
Yeah.
I still feel bad about your order, man.
It's fine. Listen, I'm not trying. I'm just as long as it's happening, and you getting your due. Obviously, I mean, I do like the I'm not gonna say I don't really need the shirts, but I do like the designs. But obviously, I'm just supporting.
Oh yeah, I got you. I appreciate it. I mean, that's watch the next episode, guys. See, you know what I'm saying? It keeps going.